From the year 1888, from the Cincinnati Enquirer. The headline is just bowling with a lot of subheadings. The writer starts off the editorial with, "I am feeling rather stupid today. Let's go in and bowl a few games and liven up." "All right, I'll roll a game or two with you." This conversation occurred between a couple of young men on Vine Street in the hearing of an Enquirer reporter. He followed them to the nearest bowling alley and witnessed a really interesting contest between them. They were pretty evenly matched in skill, and the games grew close and exciting. It could be seen that it is fine exercise. The muscles of the arms, legs, and back are brought into play. It is an invigorating and healthful pastime, attended with no danger to the players. There are no broken noses, arms, and legs, or smashed fingers in 10 pins or cocked hat. And I'll interject at this time that during that period in history, any reference to 10 pins just meant bowling with 10 pins on the lane, and it didn't necessarily mean a large ball. The balls were interchangeable. Small balls and the large balls shared space on the same ball rack. Bowling is an ancient and noble sport. At an early period, it was a favorite pastime in England. It was first played on the open ground. It was the custom to thoroughly clean up, shave, and roll the turf, and then bowl with balls which were flat on one side. It became so popular as a means of sport and gambling that during the reign of King Henry VIII, it was prohibited by a law, which was not repealed until 1845. At an early period in the history of America, it was introduced in this country and was very popular. Everyone who has been much in New York City is familiar with the open park on Lower Broadway near the Battery, which is still known to many as Bowling Green. In the historic days, when that part of the city was New Amsterdam, this open space was used as a public bowling ground, hence the name. In more modern times, the game of bowls has been improved upon, and it is now known as 10 pins and rolled on alleys from 50 to 65 feet in length, made of hard wood and perfectly level. The pins are set up so the front pin stands out alone and the other pins follow so that it makes a pyramid. And a well-directed ball hitting the center pin in the right way will knock them all down. These pins are of swamp elm and weigh about 2.5 pounds each. The balls used are of lignum vitae wood from South America. It is the hardest wood known and is without a grain. The balls weigh from 1 pound to 20 and cost $3 to $9 each, according to size. The pins, when set up as described above, are called a frame. In 10 pins there are 3 frames, and the player is allowed 3 balls at each frame. It is possible for him to make 90, but 27 is the general average. If a man knocks all of them down at one roll, they are reset, and he has his 3 rolls. If he knocks but a part of them, he rolls at the pins remaining. A large ball rolled down the alley makes a loud, rumbling noise. Washington Irving, in his touching story of Rip Van Winkle, alludes to the distant mutterings of thunder as the noise of Heinrich Hudson and his band playing at 10 pins in the Catskill Mountains. In 10 pins, a large or medium ball is generally rolled. If it runs off the alley, it goes into the gutter and is called a poodle. At the opposite end of the alley is located a boy who sets up the pins. His is the stormiest position of all, as some of the wild rollers send a ball down so swiftly that it is pleasant to be as far away from it as possible. The boy rolls back the balls to a player on a rack that looks like a water drain, which is elevated a few feet from the floor and extends the length of the alley. It will cost $200 to build and equip an alley. In the public resorts, there are generally 3 alleys together, built at a cost of $600. For a game with 2 playing, the cost is 15 cents, and each additional player increases the cost 5 cents. At the end of each game, checks are given, good for 5 cents at the bar. More modern than the pins and more scientific is the game of cocked hat. In this, only 3 pins are set up, one on each corner of the alley and the other in the middle and to the front of them. The point of the game is to knock all 3 at once down, and a small ball only is proper. Should you hit the center pin with sort of a twist or a little to one side or the other, you would knock all 3 pins down. It requires a good roller to do this. The amateur will run off and go between the pins time after time. The same number of frames are set up and the same number of rolls given as in 10 pins. It is possible in cocked hat to make a total of 45, but to show how difficult the game is, the average is but 7. Enthusiastic players become wonderfully expert, and nothing is prettier than a curved ball on a bowling alley. It is said that it was from practice at bowling that the curve on pitching baseball was first discovered. The same principle would apply in throwing a ball as in rolling, and with the same beneficial result.